Hey everybody, thank you again for coming back for video number 4 in our 5-part negotiating series. I'm Don DeRosa, and I want to thank you for visiting my blog at AskDonDeRosa.com. In this 4th session, we want to talk about, how to provide your seller, or provide anybody, whoever you're negotiating with an objective basis of your offer. That's the element number 4. Let's go kind of recap numbers 1 through 3 first. On the very first on the very first blog we did, first I want to thank you for sticking with me in number 4. We're on number 4 right now, which is awesome. That means you're serious about negotiating, and I'm really impressed that you're sticking with me. But in the first video series, if you haven't seen the first 3, in the first video series we talked about making your offer fair, and how important it is to make it fair so that it really becomes a win-win scenario. Then we talked about, in the second one, is making sure you meet your seller's needs. That's also important, because if you fail to meet your seller's needs, it's not going to last very long, because you'll be a one-hit wonder on negotiations, maybe. And the last thing you want in any negotiations is to do I'm going to pull over here, is to do a win-lose scenario in a negotiation. That's not a good thing to do, because you have referrals that you need to be worried about, and all kind of things, word of mouth, reputation, that all can precede you and carry on in the future. The third thing is building rapport with your seller. It's important that you learn how to build rapport and grow that relationship with them, and then you want to be able to provide them with with an objective basis, if you will. And what I mean by an objective basis is, when you make your offer, you want it based on objectiveness, and you want to be able to show them why and how you came up with that. And a lot of times I like to write. I like to have something in front of me. In fact, when I'm negotiating with a seller on buying and selling a house, for example, I use a spreadsheet, and I show them. We start going down the path, and we get into a lot of the training in the negotiating courses, as well as my other courses, on how to negotiate, how to pull them in to show them that they don't have a lot of equity in a property. I'm going to give you an example of this. If you have a house that's worth $140 on the fair market value, and the owner owes $100,000, right away they think they have $40,000 worth of equity. But any real estate investor knows, even if you're brand new, that they don't really have $40,000. They have commissions that come out of there. They have closing fees that come out of there. They have negotiating price, because no one ever pays full retail. They have holding costs. They have electricity. They have all kinds of costs, and people pulling at them, but that's the natural thing for most homeowners, to think they have a ton of equity, because all they're looking at is, what do I owe and what's my house worth? Well, just because somebody says it's worth this doesn't mean that someone's going to pay that. So as you're negotiating with them and you're asking them all the right things, you're building credibility, you're building rapport with them, you're making a fair offer. By making a fair offer, what you're doing, your objective is to show them that they do not have $40,000 worth of equity in their property. So what I like to do is I show them on a spreadsheet. You can use a piece of paper, you can put it on a laptop, however you want to communicate that with them, but people really respond visually. You can't just sit there and talk to them and say, well, yeah, you got $3,000 in repair costs and this and that, and give them numbers and sit there and talk to them. Yeah, they may be nodding their head, but I promise you it's going in one ear and out the other, or it's hitting them right here and sliding over the top. They're not paying attention to you. Okay? So basically, what I'm asking you, or what I'm instructing you to do, is come up with some kind of system that you can show them on paper. And for example, I go and say, okay, well, your house is worth X, and it's going to cost me X number. I'm going to pay your closing fees, so it's going to cost me X number of dollars in closing fees. So I got to back that up. Then it's going to cost me, $5, $6, $7, $8,000 in repairs. I got to put paint and carpet and all this stuff. And I write all this stuff down for them so that they see these numbers. And as I go, I say, do you agree with all this stuff that I'm talking to you about? And they go, oh, yeah. and I'm gonna have to hold this for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, however long it is. So and your payment on that is X, or my payment's gonna be X, and then I have selling commissions and what it's gonna cost me to sell things, and so on and so forth. And I'm like, you agree on all that? And by the time I'm finished, once they've agreed on all of those things, now I do the subtraction, and now I say, well, you thought you had $40,000, you don't, and here's why. And we need X number of dollars in profit to be involved. So the best offer I can make is this, and I write it down and I show it to them. Now that goes back to being able to show them something, and really providing something that's objective. So you're not just throwing out a number and having them scratch their head going, I wonder if this guy's full of crap. Now they know that there's some hard numbers behind your negotiation, and you're not just trying to pull the wool over their eyes. A good negotiator will be able to say, look, here's what I've got, and here's some numbers, here's some facts, here's some figures. Because remember, time, information, and power are the most powerful three critical elements in any negotiation. Remember those: time, information, and power. And we're talking about information now, and we're also talking about the element of power, because the more information that you have and the more objections that you can steal away from them so that they don't ask those objections, the more power you get. So you become the person in the negotiations that is the stronger negotiator, and by pulling all those things out of that sales price, for example, what are they going to say? Well, no, I think my house is worth this. Well, I do too. However, I got all these other expenses. That's why I can't pay X. Or whatever it is you're looking at. If you're looking at a car or anything that you're negotiating, the more information that you know, the more information that you can use in putting together this basis, or this basic, fair, objective basis. So hopefully that made sense to you. We still have one more part in our 5-part series here at Ask Don DeRosa on the negotiating tips. So please make sure that you come back to AskDonDeRosa.com and visit us, and look forward to the 5th negotiating session. Thank you very much. Have a great day.